It's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Ahsoka Part 3, Time to Fly. Before I get started with the review, just wanted to point out that this review is being filmed during the midst of the writers and actors strike, and obviously this show would not be possible without both those groups. It's their hard work that makes awesome content like this possible. So for more information on that strike, I've included a link in the description box below, so please check that out. Also, this review will include spoilers, so if you don't want anything spoiled for Part 3, Time to Fly, go watch the episode first and come back and watch my review. With that warning out of the way, let's get started talking about Time to Fly. I would say the first 3 episodes for Ahsoka, this is probably my least favorite, not because I didn't enjoy it, probably because how short it was. I felt like I could have used another 10 or 15 more minutes. So just because it was so much shorter than the first couple episodes, it didn't include as much content. But what was in this episode, I really enjoyed a lot. The majority of the episode does focus on Ahsoka and Sabine, but we do get some cool Hera content. And that's probably where I wish we would have got to see a little bit more on that side of the storyline. Maybe another 5 or 10 minutes of Hera's side of the story, instead of the little bit of the taste we got. So that's kind of why I would say out of the 3, it's my least favorite, but I still enjoyed it. Obviously, the episode gets started off with a very cool kind of training, not necessarily montage, but training with Ahsoka and Sabine. And you get more reinforcements about what Sabine's levels are in regard to force powers. Ahsoka's beliefs that this doesn't matter, that with a proper training, even though she might not have the same powers in the Force that other Jedi do, or other Force users do, she can still improve herself. And she's not being trained initially to become a Jedi, but in some way I feel like Ahsoka's training her to be the best Sabine that is possible. And almost, I get a feeling it's almost like a melding of the trying to meld Mandalorian fighting techniques and practices with Jedi discipline and philosophy, and kind of helping create this individual. I think Ahsoka realizes she needs Sabine to be the best she can be for them to be successful in this quest. But I really did enjoy that training montage, so I thought that was cool. I also like the little mask that Sabine had to wear, obviously very much a callback to Kanan, and obviously that leads to the next thing I want to mention. We get another awesome callback to Kanan, where we do get to see Jason Segura during Hera's little segment, so I love to got to see a little bit of him. I would have loved to see a little bit more of him. I'm glad we did get to see him. I was a little bit worried when Hera first appears and she's talking to Mon Mothma, and Mon Mothma just mentions Jason, and Hera says, "Oh, he's on the ship." I was afraid we just weren't going to see him. I was like, "Oh, they're just going to keep on teasing and teasing." So I'm glad they did show him in that same episode, because otherwise it would have seemed like a little bit of a cruel jab to the fans just to mention Jason in this episode and not show him. But kind of get more into Hera stuff. I'm enjoying that you're getting to see, I would say the early stages of decisions that's already leading to the New Republic's downfall, that they're already struggling to confront a resurgent Imperial power. Obviously we already seen this in The Mandalorian, and we're seeing this more in Ahsoka. What I would have liked to see a little bit more is maybe a little bit more of Mon Mothma's opinions in that little meeting, where it seemed like she was very much deferring to the other senators in the group and not really taking the lead, and that doesn't really just seem like the Mon Mothma we know. So I'd have loved a little bit more of there, maybe her being a little bit more assertive, and maybe having the senators who are clearly not on their side, engaging in that debate with Mon Mothma, where it seemed like, again, Mon Mothma was almost stepping back and letting those other senators take the lead and letting Hera do the debating for her. And I wasn't too crazy about that part, but hopefully we'll get to see more of Mon Mothma throughout the series to kind of get a better feeling of where she currently is at, what her mindset is. I almost have the feeling that maybe she's already feeling... I almost had the feeling from this, like she's already feeling beat down, and I already get the feeling like I'm losing control, and the New Republic's kind of going down a path I don't want them to go. But I don't know, we'll see. Again, I'm hoping we get a lot more Mon Mothma content throughout this, again, to get a little bit more feeling of what the New Republic is like during this time period, and small little decisions that lead to his eventual downfall. I do love how passionate Hera was. I thought that was very cool, and very much showing that she still cares about Ezra, but at the same time, she's focused on, Thrawn is this threat. I want to stop this war before it happens, and if he comes back, we are going to have another war. Definitely makes me want to root against those senators who are quickly using Ezra against Hera. It's like, oh, you're not really concerned about Thrawn, you're just trying to find Ezra. Definitely a good way to get you to hate somebody very quickly is to pull out a line like that. Obviously, once that debate wraps up is when we get to see Jason, that little bit of him. I love, for fans of Rebels, you quickly get that call back to Kanan where, like he's saying like, oh, I want to be a Jedi. And, for people that watch Rebels, we know why he wants to be a Jedi. For people that haven't watched Rebels, you don't know yet. And I'm hoping we'll get some more exploration of him, because, so far they really haven't mentioned Kanan. So I'd really like that to come up more, and hopefully that will as the series goes along. I'm sure it will. I don't know why you'd have Jason in the show and not necessarily bring up Kanan. But again, that's part of the episode I would like to see more. Maybe another 5 or 10 minutes of Hera and what was going on the ship. Maybe some stuff with Jason. Maybe she has a discussion with Jason, something like that. But, I think it's hard to complain too much about that because you don't know what the next episode is. For all we know, the next episode is going to be very heavy on the New Republic side. We're going to get all that Hera, Jason, Kanan content we want in the next episode. But at least for this episode, I would have liked a little bit more. Then we get back to Ahsoka and Sabine and their arrival on the system to find the hyper ring that we saw the last time that Morgan is constructing. Did enjoy the little space battle they had there. I'm not exactly sure why the fighter planes were not able to shoot Ahsoka's plane down when it was dead in the water, even though she was, fighting off the lightsabers. It still seems like they should have been able to damage the ship a little bit more, if at least not destroy it. But, hey, it's Star Wars. Sometimes you kind of have to ignore a little stuff like that just for the sake of the storyline. But Ahsoka being on the outside of the ship was awesome. I love that moment, even though I still felt like they should have been able to destroy the ship. But seeing her out there in her suit, deflecting ships, their lasers with her lightsabers was amazing. Very cool moment. The hyper ring looked amazing once you see it in scale with everything else. I'm glad we got that confirmation right away. That's what that is. I'm very excited when we're going to see it in action, because I think we all know we're going to see it in action. I was actually expecting when Ahsoka and Sabine made it to the ship's planet, or the planet that the hyperling's around, that we maybe would get some fighting on the ground, but we did it. So I think, my guess is that's going to be the next episode. We're going to see some action on the ground, and then maybe 2 episodes, if I had to predict, before we maybe leave this planet and head to this other galaxy. But again, I enjoyed this episode, just a little bit short. Would have liked a little bit more, but I still like the direction the series is going in. In the comment section below, let me know what you think. Did you enjoy this episode? What were your favorite parts? Oh, sorry, I forgot about the Purrgil. Seeing the Purrgil in live action was amazing. Loved it. Can't believe while I was talking about the review, I forgot to mention the Purrgil. I knew we were going to see them at some point. They looked very cool in live action. That was one of the things I wasn't sure how they would look in live action, if they would just come across as silly and kind of dumb. And actually, I think they look better in live action than they do in animation. I also love that we do get a little exposition after their scene where it's talking about like space wells, and they know how to use hyperspace, and they're called Purrgils. So for 1-2 sentences there, non-Rebel fans are quickly caught up to what these Purrgils are. So I thought they handled that very, very well, and I feel dumb for forgetting to mention it while I was talking about what I enjoyed about this episode. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button. And if you have yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Please come back to the channel every week while Ahsoka's on. I'll be doing a review for each episode. So if you're enjoying my reviews of Ahsoka, hope you keep on coming back and watch them. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you.